y'all YouTubers, Gil. So today I'm gonna be talking about my new phone here. It's a Samsung Galaxy S9, and I got this phone along with the Note 9. My wife, Jenny Lynn, got the Note 9, and then we did the promotion where you buy the Note 9 and get this one for free. And so that's what I did. And I'm getting this one to replace the pink lined S7 that I used to have. So anyway, I'm loving it already. I mean, I like the color. They had a blue one. I was looking at the blue one, but I just got this one. It's a gold one, like the same color as my other one. So anyway, Jenny Lynn just loves that Note 9 that she has. She loves that phone, and it's like so at Best Buy we went to and we did the promotion. We did the promotional deal where like I say, like we buy one and get one free. But the thing I have to say about all this is, like, this buy one get one free thing, it's under these conditions that you have to open up a new line. That's number one. So, and then number two, this free phone has to be active, and it has to be on your line, or it has to be activated, and it has to be on through the duration of your account for 2 years. It has to be, this phone has to be on your account. You cannot sell it, or you cannot do it. You cannot change phones or anything during the duration of the 2 years in order for it to stay free. Because if anything happens with the phone, or if we take this phone out and put a different one, like if we sold it or something, then we'll have to pay for the phone, even if it was like a few years, or not that long. Even if it was like even if we kept it for, say, 6 months or so, if we sold it later on, let's say, or if we changed phones, then they're gonna charge you for the phone. I mean, you're not gonna get your credits anymore. I mean, you'll have to pay for the phone. So that's the catch about these deals. But you gotta make sure that it's gonna be a phone that you like before you commit to the deal, you know. But for my case, I like the phone. I love it. I really like the phone, and I just hope I don't break it or anything, because you know how these screens are easy to break. And this is the thing I have to say I don't like about how things are right now, because these are expensive to fix, you know. I mean, especially like the iPhones, you know. Or I mean, I heard a screen to fix a broken screen on an iPhone, today's new XS or something, or the XS. I mean, so they can cost like $500 to fix the screen. It's what I hear. I don't know if it's true or not. Well, I do know it's really expensive, because back in my day when I had my Galaxy 4, like back in my day, that was like 5 years ago, when I had a brand new Galaxy 4, you know, Samsung Galaxy 4. It was nice too. I really liked that phone. But for whatever reason, that screen, that LCD broke. Not the screen, not the glass part, but the LCD broke for whatever reason, whatever stupid reason it was. And then they tried to say that it's my fault, but I never even tried to fix it. I never tried to claim warranty or anything, because I heard that they were gonna say that it's my fault anyway. I mean, so I didn't bother. So I just sold the phone. I just sold it for like $200 back in the time. But we paid $200 for the promotion deal back in the days. And that's another thing. These promotional prices are gone now. They don't do that anymore. It appears to me they don't do that anymore. It's like they only do this next plan, and this is AT&T. But I mean, I remember back in the time when we used to do that, when they used to give us a promotional price, like if it was like a $600, $700 phone, we would be able to get it for like $250 or $300 or $200 or whatever. It was always typically $200 back in like 5 years ago, like the Galaxy S4, for instance. I got that one, I think, for $200, and the regular price was $650 or something like that. But we just signed a 2-year contract. But in those days, in my case, when that phone broke and I couldn't use it anymore, I just sold it for whatever I wanted for it. And then I just went back to my old phones, and since I was on a contract, I had to wait 2 years. I had to wait till the 2 years was up before I can do another phone for a discounted price, unless I was gonna want to pay full price for a new one, but we did not always do that. But anyway, so now let's talk about like some of my first phones ever, first cell phones ever. Back in 1999, going in the 90s. I know in the 90s they had these how do I call it? I don't remember. Well, I know they had the phones like starting in the mid 90s, but they were super expensive to buy back then, and they were analog. And I think going on to like 98, or like I know going up to about 98, they were charging like $1 a minute to use those cell phones, you know, back in the day. And I remember Hector got his first phone, and it was like an analog, but it was really expensive to use it, you know. And I do know that it used to be if I remember, well, I mean, I remember that's how much it was. But going on to 99, it was like the first year that I considered the phones becoming more affordable by an average Joe guy like me. So when we went through this, so I got my very first one in 1999 when they were offering the similar thing, you know, like promotional prices. But for this phone, it was a Ericsson. It was a Sony Ericsson. Well, it was not Sony, but I mean, it probably was a Sony, but I do know that it was just a plain Ericsson phone. It was like a small phone, and I have some videos of it, which I'm gonna look for and post up for you. So my first phone was one of those. Those phones were just very basic. It just had the phone. Just a phone and maybe caller ID, and that's it. That's about it. And maybe it just had a few ringtones, you know, like it had like maybe only five different ringtones to choose from, you know. Back, well, that was that was one of the choices, and of course I'm sure they had better phones than that, but you know, they would have been really expensive. But I just went with the entry-level phone. It was just a very basic phone, but the best part of it was being able to use it remotely anywhere, you know, a cell phone. I remember the first time I ever owned a cell phone, I thought that was so freaking cool, because being able to do something that I've never done before, and that was like be anywhere and make a call, you know. That's what I thought was so cool, you know, like when I first got the phone, when I first got the cell phone. And then I remember they were doing analog, but then they started digitalizing the signal going on to the late 90s. And so, I mean, everybody always said digital is better. It's always better to get a digital phone instead of an analog, because it's more reliable, it's more clear. So, well, anyway, so this phone, if we're talking about how much it cost total, like this phone, it was actually $200 if I remember. It was like $189 regular price for this phone that I had, my very first phone, but I got it for like maybe $30. It was like a promotion where I did, like, where we were supposed to donate $20 to the Ronald McDonald House of Foundation or something. I don't know what that is. I just know that I just had to write a check for $20 or something, and then I had paid like setup fees or whatever it was. I mean, I just know I ended up paying like maybe $35 a month, or $35 to start up, and then I remember the plans that they had. I remember that they were offering like maybe, like, I think they were offering like 30-minute plan. They had a 30-minute plan starting at about $30 or something like that. It was something like, I know that the plans, the plan I chose apparently was, it was like a 300-minute plan, I remember, and I was paying like $50 a month for that service. And I remember that it was 300 minutes, and then they had the offer. They started doing this offer where it's free weekends, where you get, like, where you could call for free weekends. Like on the weekends, it's all free. The minutes are free, but it's like the minutes would only count through during the week. And then they also had an offer, like for a little bit of money extra, you could buy this plan where you could get nights and weekends off starting at 9:00 p.m. or something, you know, like, but you had to pay extra for that, if you all remember that. And then they still had other things too. And then they offered like, you know, like, what do we call it, mail, the voicemail, that type of, you know, they offered all that stuff for extra, you know. But the typical plan was 300 minutes, 300 anytime minutes for $50 a month. But I tell you, you gotta watch out when you go over. Shit, very expensive. I've been through that. Shit. And I remember, I mean, it's like I went over a lot of times, and the thing that would always piss me off is that they would not tell me. I used to hate that when they did not tell me that I was going over. I mean, they didn't at least give me like a courtesy text or anything like that I went over, you know. And I went over so many times, and I didn't know that I went over and stuff, you know. But anyway, and then going on to like in the later years, like, then I upgraded to the Motorolla, what was that phone? It was like those big phone. It was kind of like a big brick phone, sort of, you know, but it was like I don't remember the name of the model number. It was before the 3399, or it was a Nokia. It was either a Motorola, well, I know it was a Nokia 3399. It was kind of like a silver colored phone, or it was a gray colored phone. I had one of those. That was like the one that was after the Nokia 1190 or something like that. I mean, I remember that. I liked that, the second phone that I ever got, because that one, the battery life was good on that one. And then it had, the screen got bigger, but it became a little bit more sophisticated, you know, like, I mean, like, we were able to play a little bit of things on it, but it was nothing advanced or anything, but we were able to add some extra things, and then that's when the texting started there. And remember the numbers, or when we would press the 1, like the 1 for the A, B, and C, and then 2 for C, D, E, or whatever that is. Remember that? Remember we used to do that? And then we how we call it, also well, I did that, and of course I had nicer phones, and then I always just stuck with the cheap ones, you know, with the basic ones, or the inexpensive ones. And then I know the phone after the 3390 I got in 2003, I got like a Sony Ericsson. I don't remember the model, but that was like the first color screen phone that I ever got. And it was a nice phone too. I mean, and then that's like one of the first phones that I ever got that I had a camera. But I mean, it was like an attachment that we used to buy. I mean, that we used to be able to buy. But I had a promotion with that phone where I can get a free attachment, camera attachment. But the only thing that the camera attachment was able to do was really take pictures. That's it, you know. I mean, it could not really do anything fancy at all. I mean, it just took like just a picture of your face, you know, that's it, you know, that's about it. And then you could embed it on the phone number. That's all you were really able to do, just take a little face picture so you can have a picture ID rather than using the phone number to identify. It was like a nice thing, neat feature. I mean, they could not really make video back then, but it was just, I didn't know that this attachment cost $50 to buy. I mean, and all he could do is just take a picture of my face. But I got that one for free. That was back in my day. And then he went on to like going on to the mid-90s. I mean, of course, I mean, mid-2000, I tell you, but of course, the phone started getting more sophisticated by the year. And I remember in about 2006, I got a Motorola Silver 7 or something. And then they had these Motorola Razor phones, like the flip phones. Those are really popular. I remember those. I mean, Jenny Lynn loved that phone, loved those type of phones, you know. And then, I mean, I did not have one of those, but I mean, I had the silver, the Motorola SLVR or something like that. And that was the first phone that offered a USB hookup. And that was nice. That was really nice because I was able to take the pictures out of that phone, like using a USB rather than, you know, having a special driver or a special CD or something to be able to do that, you know, back in the old. But I was never able to pull pictures out of the old phones anyway because they were shitty anyway. So, I mean, but the Motorola SLVR, that was the first phone that I ever got that had pretty decent quality pictures. And so that was like one of the first phones that I ever decided that I can go ahead and use to take pictures like at any given moment's time, because most of the time I was not always able to bring my camera, you know, my video camera, because it was bulky, you know. So it was hard for me to have my camera and my video camera with me everywhere I go. So I felt that it was a dream to have the convenience of having the camera on me, like on me all the time, so to speak, you know. And so that was the first phone that I ever had the ability to just take pictures at short notice, you know. Although they weren't big, they were only like 600 by 320 or something like that, but I mean, but they were good enough. Then I remember that I also had a let's see, I also had a, going on to the late 2000s, I had a what was the name of that phone? It was another Sony Ericsson, and that was pretty nice. And but in the mid 2000 or late 2000, I also had a LG Shine, it was called, and that was probably one of the first phones besides the Motorola SLVR. The other thing about the SLVR, that was like one of the first phones that I ever had with an MP3 player built in, you know, and it had iTunes. It was like an iTunes phone, you know, but I was using that MP3, but I didn't like the fact that I didn't have big enough space, you know, like the memory cards were expensive then, you know. But then the silver, or not only that, I mean, these phones could not support bigger than like 2 gigabytes, you know. They couldn't support big memory cards, you know. 2 gigabytes were the biggest in the mid 2000s. And then 2000, I know, like, when I got the LG Shine in 2009, I mean, it's like that one had 4 gigabyte compatibility, but I didn't like the idea that, you know, that these phones didn't have a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. I mean, so, and it required these adapters so you could use it. And I didn't like to have to bring those adapters because, like, what if we forget it at home? Then we won't be able to hear music, you know. And then, but what was I saying? Well, I lived with it though. I mean, but so that silver or the Shine, the LG Shine, I liked that phone. I liked that phone because it was able to do 4 gigabyte memory cards, and I was able to put a decent amount of music, but I still wanted more space for the music, you know. But I mean, I was living through that, and then I had that Sony Ericsson going on to the end of the 2009, and that one was able to support 8 gigabytes, and that was even better. I love that phone for that, but I still needed that adapter though to play the music. And then it went on to like the 2010s when our phones started getting pretty sophisticated. I think 2010 is like when Jenny Lin got the very first Galaxy, the very first Samsung Galaxy. It was a Galaxy Captivate. It was Galaxy 1, you know, like this is an S9 right here. This is the latest phone as of this date, as of today, which is August or September 2018. But back in around 2010, that was the very first of the Galaxies. Galaxy S1, I would call it, but it was actually called a Captivate. We loved that, and that was like the first phone that I can officially use for everything now, videos, everything, because that's the first phone where the videos were finally good enough to replace my camcorder with. And so from that point on, that's when I started using the phone to replace my camcorder with. And then of course, that phone had like 16 gigabyte built in, which was nice, and then it was able to accept memory cards up to 16. So things started getting better and better. So going on to 2010, that's when I officially basically replaced my camcorder with a phone. Just using my phone for everything, you know. So that's my story of that phone, you know. I'm gonna go ahead and probably, I don't know if I'm gonna do a separate video, but I think, and then, well, this is just then things that I have to say. My cell phone life began in 1999, but with a very basic phone. All we do is just make phone calls. That's it. That's all we were able to do with the very first phone that I ever got. But of course, over the years, they started getting sophisticated, you know. Well, anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. So I'm gonna go ahead and start looking at posting more again. So, well, thanks for watching this one. It's all about cell phones. Alrighty.